The tears flowed freely, deep grief and sorrow clearly written on the faces of everyone. A wife, shell-shocked beyond belief, with two little kids who were still too young to understand they would never set eyes on their father again, and the agony of parents for whom the loss of a dear son is too rude a shock to bear. Never in their wildest dreams had the Awosikas thought their son and husband, Bayo, would die at the early age of 39. But it's the manner of his death and the question still hanging over it 1 month after that is still a pain in the heart. In the early hours of 1st October this year, between the hours of 1 and 2 a.m., Bayo was said to have left the Palms shopping mall, heading for home on Victoria Island where he lived. To connect to the road that would take him home, he must negotiate this roundabout at the Lekki Phase 1 area. At that time, some policemen mounted a checkpoint at the roundabout, parking their vehicle right at the edge of the road. But it was at that roundabout that somehow death stalked, and it is here that the mystery begins as to how exactly Bayo died. His body had been found at this spot some 300 meters away from the roundabout. One of the first persons to be reached about the news of Bayo's death was one of his friends. For security reasons, we had to cover his identity.
At about 3:45 a.m., I got a call from two of my friends who were also friends to Bayo, saying they got a call from some policemen that Bayo had an accident. Immediately I left my place for the Lekki roundabout where the accident was said to have happened. And on my way there, I called Bayo's number, and it was answered by a policeman who actually confirmed that Bayo had an accident and that at that time his car was burning. So I continued, and when I got there, I met 3 policemen, one of them in mufti, the other 2 in uniform, and another man who I think was a photographer because he had a camera with him. So the policeman told me that the accident occurred not when they were on duty, but that some mobile policemen were the ones on duty when it happened, and that Bayo's car ran into their patrol van and somersaulted into the ditch where it caught fire. They took me closer to the vehicle, which was actually burning, and Bayo's body laid outside the vehicle. Some minutes later, a downfall bus which was passing by was flagged down, and the passengers were asked to come out. Bayo's body was put into the bus, and the downfall driver was asked to take Bayo's body to the military hospital.
The fact is, the physical evidence at the scene hardly corroborates the story of the victim's car somersaulting after hitting the police patrol van. For starters, this is a live video of the roundabout. Now, let's take the police initial account to task by demonstrating the scenario they painted by means of a reconstruction. Now here is Bayo's car approaching the roundabout. The police patrol van is arrowed in red over there. Bayo's car approaches, tires screeching, and then this happens. The car rolls over the roundabout and settles into a ditch some 300 meters away and catches fire. Bayo dies instantly. Now that is the initial account of the police. The problem with this storyline is that apart from the area of Bayo's car that hit the police van, the car is not dented after somersaulting several times. Besides, this concrete barrier surrounding the roundabout still remains standing and intact. No sign at all that a car rolled over them. That must be a miracle of some sort. Let's now turn our attention to Bayo's car itself. Over a month after the incident, The wreckage of the car still sits in the same position it was found the morning of October 1st. A closer examination shows the windscreen of the car were not shattered, but just melted by the fire. The glass to the front passenger door, which largely remains intact, is just a clear proof. This is no doubt a strange development for a car that supposedly somersaulted for a distance of about 300 meters. Yet another strange occurrence is this dry burnt-out wood directly beneath the fuel tank. Just how did it find its way to where the fuel tank is? Equally strange is the fact that the handbrake of the car is pulled up, indicating a parking position. But one incident eventually proved this initial account by the police was an absolute lie. When Bayo's body was taken to the military hospital, a shocking discovery was made.
When I looked at his body, I was surprised that this man doesn't have any mark on the body at all for a car that's somersaulted, no bruises, nothing. Then I just queried that, how come his head is so shattered? It looked like a puppet had just been smashed. And well, there and then people were passing comments. There was a lady doctor who said she doesn't buy an accident story, that this looks like gunshots.
Indeed, there were no injuries on the body apart from the gaping hole on the head of the victim. Pathologist's examination would later confirm everyone's fears. The result revealed Bayo had died from missile injury, in other words, from gunshots, and at close range.
We are yet to conclude the investigation into the case. But I must say that we have progressed substantially. As to what is actually our findings or the progress we've made, I think again I might not want to issue out this in piecemeal or instrumentally. I would rather wait for a detailed and final investigation report to be issued. And as soon as that is issued, of course, we're going to make it public.
But has the police made any arrest at all?
Well, of course, people were interviewed, people were interrogated, and that's the situation.
Although there's no official confirmation yet, we gathered from sources who would not want their identity disclosed that the police authorities may have accepted that the mobile policemen on duty at the roundabout that early morning of 1st October actually shot Bayo. However, they added that the men fired at Bayo because he refused to stop after he had hit their patrol van. They said the men opened fire suspecting he was a criminal when he would not stop after he had been flagged down. Let's again take this scenario to task by means of another reconstruction. Now, this is Bayo's car approaching the roundabout. Arrowed again in red is a police van in its actual position. A few meters away, two policemen stood guard, and some meters away